Hey there everyone, it is Maria Young here and welcome back to my orchid adventures. In today's episode, what I'm going to be doing is showing you some propagations that I did with my vanilla orchid. I'm going to give you an update, and then also we're going to talk about some of the experiences that I've actually gone through so you guys know exactly what to expect when propagating your vanilla orchid. Also, if you guys want to check out the video where I showed you the step-by-step process of how I rescued and also propagated my vanilla orchid, you can go ahead and click on this link right here and it'll take you directly to that video. Okay folks, and here we are, right here and right now. This right here are the vanilla cuttings that I did take a good 9 months ago. That's right, 9 months ago. And I do have to tell you, it took me about 6 months to even see any type of growth action on this at all. So yes, this indeed was a long, grueling, and somewhat stressful propagation for me. Also folks, another important thing to note is the fact that I did make these cuttings in the month of September when the months were beginning to cool down, and then of course going through our winter months as well. This remained outdoors, so yes, it did endure some very cold temperatures. And as you guys know, with our orchids that remain outdoors, especially during the winter season, they do endure a lot. And we're talking about cuttings here. I mean, our regular, mature, adult size, well-established plants even have to go through a recouping and a recovery process after the winter season. So you can only imagine what these cuttings had to go through. And with that in mind, guys, I would definitely recommend, if you are planning on making any cuttings or propagations to your orchid, that you would do it in the months that would be prime for it to reestablish itself, and also in the months where you are getting the most growth out of your orchids. And again, the winter months is definitely not the time to do it. And I would recommend to do it at the end of spring or during the summer months. Those are the months that you're going to get the most growth out of your orchids. Now, of course, in my case, it was an emergency rescue and also propagation, and is the reason why I had to do it in September. But again, if you guys can control the time, make sure that you're doing it at the best time. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the first changes that I did notice with my cuttings. And I have to tell you, they were somewhat very bothersome and had me really fretting and worried. I was really concerned. So all of the vines, I do have to tell you, had shown these roots to be no more. I mean, each and every one of the roots that originally came with the vine absolutely dried up and died off. There were no root survivors here. Also, with the vines, I did notice that all of the leaves began to shrivel and brown up and also drop completely off. All of the vines lost majority of their leaves, only holding on to but one or maybe two if they were lucky. So all that I basically had to look at were these practically leafless vines and also all of these completely dead roots. I mean, that's it. So as you can imagine, I was very concerned, and I really did not think that this vanilla orchid or these cuttings right here had a good chance of surviving. And we're talking about a good 6 months of looking at leafless vines and dead roots, okay? And the only relief that I did have was the fact that the surviving vines remained green. So that is the main thing that we are looking for, is the vines to remain green. And just as long as the vines are green, that does indicate that it is still alive and it does still have the chance of actually vining out and surviving. Now, I will have to let you guys know that there were actually 3 vines or 3 cuttings that did not survive. And the way that I knew that there was something actually going on with those cuttings is the fact that I noticed extreme yellowing within the vine. So therefore, that is an indication that there is some sort of infection that is going on, and more than likely will be the case that there is some sort of rotting infection that is going on. So I had to remove those rotted rotted out vines, get them out of the pot so that these remaining good live vines would not be infected. And to avoid rotting infection within the cuttings, I would definitely recommend that you give this orchid the least amount of watering as possible. Keep the actual media evenly moist, sparingly and moderately, but do not oversaturate it or overwater it where it is sitting in soppy media, because that is prime conditions to allow the actual vines to rot out. And a definite tip that I do want to give you to avoid any types of rotting infection and give you the best chance to have your actual cuttings to survive is to, once you have made those cuttings, to allow those wounds to completely dry out. And you're going to be capable of doing that by using cinnamon on each of the wounds, and then also allowing a good dry time of about a week so that the wounds can callus over and seal itself to prevent moisture from getting into the wounds. So you want to give it at least a week even before you put it into the media and plant it up. Okay guys, so now that I gave you some critical tips and also shared with you my experience of my personal propagation, I want to go ahead and give you the update and also the results. Dun 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 dun. So here we go. So taking a look, let's look at these vines a little bit closer. There you go. You see this one growth coming up right here. It's beginning to vine out. So that is one. And if we turn it over, turn it around right here, we're also going to notice this nice healthy growth right here, beginning to vine out from the center of the leaf, and that's where your vines are going to come out. So that is the second one. And if we take a look right here, right in the plant, here's another vine right here that is vining out. So that right there, my friend, is the third vine. And if we take a look right here, take a look, there is the start and the growth of yet another vine. So as of right now, we have 4 actual new growths and vines that are coming out of this plant. So indeed, out of 8, we have 5 that did survive. So yes, indeed, the majority of this is a successful propagation. We did have the opportunity to rescue our vanilla plant that was completely dying out due to rotting infections, and here is literal proof of it. But guys, this wasn't the only propagations that we did. We actually did some propagations where we planted the actual vanilla plant near our orchid tree. And so let's take a look and see what the results of those were. Okay, so here we are at my tree, and we're going to go ahead and look within, trying to find some vanilla vines that we did put into this tree. And as you can see, here is one right here. I mean, it's intermingled within my bromeliads and also my phals that I did mount in here, but as you can see, that's one of the vines. Now these vines haven't been doing too much at all except remaining green, and remember what I told you, just as long as they're green, there's still great hope. So we're just keeping our fingers crossed on this particular one right here. I do know that it is rooted into the ground and it is doing quite well. So I'm not going to worry so much. I'm going to allow this to grow within its time and allow it to do what it wants to do. Now I also have another one, and if we could take a look, and again, it's kind of intermingled within my bromeliads right here as well. But this one in particular is rooted within there, and if we take a look, there it is now. That's the vanilla plant, and it is established within the tree and growing its vine. I don't know how well I can show you, but it's attached into this tree now and growing quite lovely. So this one in particular is successful, and oh my, it's gonna grow all into this tree and all over the place. So Yeah, it's very exciting to see this one in particular right now and to watch it grow and to see exactly what it will do. So again, keep your fingers crossed and I'll keep you posted on all of the updates with my cuttings. And right here, folks, is my big humunga dunga wunga of a vanilla plant right here, standing at a good 5 feet tall, wrapped around this tomato cage. But on its own, we would have this vine, I would say, at a good 15 feet. Yes, that's right. This is quite humunga dunga for an average grower such as myself. Now, we did have a successful growth season with this. This actually vined out and gave us several vines. And also, if you guys remember, I did showcase to you the very first blooms that it did give me this year. If you guys missed that video, click the link right here and it'll take you to the video where I did showcase to you the beautiful and wonderful blooms of this vanilla orchid. And this vanilla orchid actually grew at such a rate where I could not even keep up with it, meaning that it was growing all sorts of vines. And here's one right here that grew out and was actually coming out of the trellis, and it got too heavy for itself and it absolutely broke off. So we're gonna have to propagate this one. This was an accidental propagation, but we'll put this to good use. So once your plant is quite established, you can find quite a monster within this vanilla orchid, just growing so freaking rapidly to the point that, wow, sometimes it'll get away from you. And this is actually a nice size cutting right here, and I might actually put it within this location right here. I don't know, what do you guys think? And allow it to just trail up this area. And within this location is actually where my huge Birds of Paradise white variety grows. And as you can see, it stands pretty tall at a good 10 feet tall. And alongside of it is my variegated cassava bush right here, or tree because it's become that tall. Stands at a good 11 feet tall. And together, as you can see, they do provide quite a great canopy to filter out the direct sunlight, in which this area will receive bright to dappled light. Great and prime conditions for the vanilla orchid to grow. And also alongside of it, you will see my bromeliads as well growing. So beautiful and tropical, and these will actually provide a little bit more moisture and humidity in this area as well. And again, with all the shrubbery and vegetation, it also allows the vanilla cutting to take hold and grow and thrive. So you guys will have to let me know exactly what you think. Do you think this is a great spot for this cutting to grow? Because that is definitely where I'm thinking of trying to grow and establish this cutting at. And there you have it, folks. That is my experience with propagating my vanilla orchid, and also sharing with you guys some critical tips on how you can successfully propagate your vanilla. I really do hope that you guys have found this video beneficial and that you did learn something new from it. If you did, please be sure to like, share, and also subscribe. It really does help my orchid channel out. And also, if you have not yet, follow me on Instagram and also on Facebook under My Orchid Adventure. And with that being said, you guys already know I do truly love and appreciate each and every one of you guys all, and I will see you guys later, and I'll also grow with you guys later as well. Bye bye for now. Mwah!